A new California bill will pay residents $1,000 for not owning a car. Now, this makes no sense. California has no mass transit system that covers the whole state, but yet they want residents to not drive cars and to take a bus, a train, or a subway that most likely doesn't exist. Now, last week, California and 17 other states declared they are planning to ban the sale of gasoline-powered cars and want you to buy electric cars. However, they can't keep the lights on. They want you to not charge your car because of the energy shortage due to a level 2 grid alert from the California grid operators, and this creates real-life issues due to rolling black and brownouts. What is a California Flex Alert? Well, you may have heard about it, but it means to set your thermostat at 78 degrees or higher, avoid using major appliances, turn off unnecessary lights, and avoid charging electric cars. So think about this. People can't get to work to improve their financial position. How will forcing them not to drive improve their lives? It may save a few bucks, but it really doesn't. Is this California's new energy policy? I hope not, because California has decided it was not wise to close down the Diablo Canyon nuclear power plant, because if they did, there would be rolling black and brownouts. Smart idea. But before we dig deeper, I want to remind you to subscribe and click that little bell for notifications so you don't miss anything. We give you more than car reviews and first looks of new vehicles. We give you car smarts because knowledge is power. California's ultimate goal is to tell you where to live, not to drive, and to take your freedoms away, all in the name of central planning and the green agenda. This bill essentially incentivizes not owning a vehicle by providing a $1,000 tax credit for single filers making up to $40,000 a year or $60,000 for joint filers. But that's not a check. That's a tax credit. And while it looks good on paper for residents, it doesn't come across that way once you hear that the incentive is a very scaled back version of what was originally proposed. Originally, the bill was supposed to give $2,500 to all residents, and there was no income cap. Even those that had fewer cars than household members would be eligible for the tax break. Now, politicians compromise with some lawmakers in order to pass this bill. Some even go as far as to assume that the extra $1,000 in residents' pockets eventually would lead to local transportation like LA's Metro. Not everyone is happy. California residents are complaining on Reddit and other social media platforms. One LA resident said they appreciate the effort, but giving people money for not having a vehicle is basically a wash when a lot of transit systems that aren't even good, and there are other factors at play, like high housing costs that force people to commute longer distances than California public transit can handle. One person posted and stated that $1,000 isn't even close enough to pay for the extra time that one would take on public transit versus a privately owned vehicle. Even a gridlocked rush hour traffic is going to move faster than most public transportation arteries. Plus, there's a bonus of going door to door in your own car instead of having to cover that last mile some other way. A San Diego resident said it won't even cover the monthly transit pass in San Diego, and this will screw over poor people who don't understand opportunity cost. California is implementing absurd regulations and rules, while state officials are doing everything they can to bring down the state's emissions, even though the grid isn't quite up to task of handling all those EVs, as we're seeing. The initiative is one among several climate measures that the state has passed in recent weeks. It's important to note that low-income people are less likely to work from home, which could be ditching their car a bit more challenging. While some lower-income Californians may be able to pivot to public transportation, the state's public transportation has long been criticized as well, being described by some as underfunded, inaccessible, unsafe, and even flat out the worst. The anti-fossil fuel movement wants to replace energy sources with solar and wind, and that doesn't work. So we have shortages, brownouts, and blackouts. They also believe that electric cars are not fossil fuel vehicles, even though all those plastics, minerals, and vegan leathers are made of fossil fuels. And the limited 18% of EVs on the road today in California has led to more demand than supply, and the results are right now. Not even enough electricity and more brownouts. Basic cause and effect. If you artificially suppress the supply, that leads to increased prices, and a negative impact to the economy will happen, and California's policies will also cause even more problems. If you like this video, give it a like and subscribe for more videos like this one. And if you have any questions or comments, because I'm sure you do, I'll be happy to start the conversation down below. All my links for social media, book, and the podcast are in the description. Thank you for your support on our Patreon page, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.